Good evening.
Evening.
The regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, Tuesday, June 27th, 2017. Time is 6 p.m. We now call the meeting to order. If everyone will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now we'll begin roll call, starting at my right, working around.
Commissioner Champagne.
Ben Bell, Secretary.
Webb J., Chairman.
Commissioner William DeBruyer.
Commissioner Bailey.
Commissioner Rodney Woods.
Lieutenant Richard Oob.
Thank you. All right. Now, accept motions or discussions for the approval of minutes from 6/13/17. Any board discussion?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, are there any questions or comments I'd like to make in a motion to accept the approval of the minutes on 6/13/2017?
All right, motion made by Commissioner Champagne,
Second.
second by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Lieutenant Oob, Sheriff's Report. Thank you for being here this evening.
All right, thank you. It was pretty uneventful this last month. We did have one, it was a domestic husband and wife. During an argument, husband punched her, left before the deputies arrived. Wound up getting a warrant for his arrest, and he was later arrested. This really wasn't that big a deal. It just was a potential. This one was in Booty Estates. One of the residents called about a fire. Sheriff's office responded, fire department responded, and it was from a portable air conditioner that she'd put it in, and there was some exposed wires that started smoking and actually shorted. Didn't set anything on fire, but the potential for that was there. So I figured I'd mention, like I said, everybody came, they all checked it out, took the old AC unit out, and discarded it. But that's always a scary thing to fire. And that was really all we had, like I said, of anything of any any event for that this time. So pretty good. Yeah.
All right, good deal. Any questions from board members?
Man hours, you don't have.
Yes, I have 57 for this.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Comments?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
guys.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you guys next time.
All right. All right, next agenda item is the delivery of the LR and HCVP expense reports for May 2017. Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir. These are for your review, and they'll be approved at the next meeting. However, one of the things that we have realized is that leak that I told you about last board meeting on the 13th that we repaired probably had an effect on the bills that we're paying. And hopefully, with that done and with the leak that we're anticipating repairing at Harnville, we won't have that problem again. At Harnville, it's a lot more serious in the sense that we had a video done and we have to go underground. And I can't do that until I get parish approval, not just permits, but that they're going to help me repair it after we tear up this concrete, because it's not an asphalt street, it's concrete. But generally, we have placed more people on the program, so that means that our expenses are a little higher. One of the things that we'll talk about a little later in the meeting, so I won't waste time talking about it now, is how we're going to report finance and everything else going forward. And that's one of the resolutions. But if you have questions, I have not really reviewed this like I should because we didn't get it until a couple of days ago. And we just seemed like we didn't have meetings, now we have them quite quickly.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments on the reports that he's delivered to the board this evening?
Not yet.
All right. Those will be reviewed and then voted on for the approval next meeting. All right, Mr. Bell, Director's Report.
Yes, sir. It's a pretty short report. It's under item number 4, front and back page. And the major things that I want to talk about are these meetings that we're going to have. If you look on the very back, you'll see that we have scheduled it's a mandatory non-smoking meeting on the 11th of July at 5 p.m. in Huntsville. On that very same day at 10 o'clock in the morning, we have a resident meeting. Now, this resident meeting will serve two purposes. One is we'll talk about capital fund, which is a requirement by law, by regulation, to talk about what we plan to use the money for going forward. Second thing is to hear concerns of the residents and tell them what we plan to do to correct it or changes we plan to make. And then lastly, to get a better understanding if there's something that they want done that we don't have on our plate to do, and move that around before it's time to turn in our budget for the capital fund. And let me just say here that I've received a notice from the parish that the October meeting for the budget presentation is set. It's usually every year in October, so that means that during the month of August and definitely by September, but in August, we'll bring the budget going forward for this board to approve it, because I can't go to them without having it approved by us first. The last two meetings scheduled is a big joint back-to-school party on the 29th, which is a Saturday, at Boutique. We're going to close down the streets. I have the applications going into the sheriff's office. It's going to be a joint presentation, because we're going to have the STEM group, the ones that with Sabrina Lewis that came out before, but she's bringing the black chemical engineers to do experiments and try to encourage young people, minorities in the community, I mean everybody, but definitely minorities, to go into the field of science and engineering in particular. And so they're going to do experiments there. We'll still have games set up and bouncy things, and we're going to give them some back-to-school equipment. We're trying to get donations from various places, and refreshments and that kind of thing. But as you know, it's an agency function, so there won't be any alcohol at all. And that will be we think it'll be between 10 and 2 during the middle of the day on Saturday. And everybody's invited. There'll be more about it on the website, and we'll send out notices also.
Is that general public or just specifically Booty or our house?
Right.
It's specifically for our residents, our young people, but if somebody lives a street over and comes, we won't.
Okay.
Can't come. The last thing is, we had one about 2 years ago, a Section 8 landlord and tenant meeting, where all the landlords stand up and ask questions, and the residents say, no, that's not true, it's like this. It turns out it's a good give and take. But at that same meeting, we're going to give them the rules, any changes. We're going to give them a copy of the administrative plan. They have it on the website, and we've been asking them to read it so they understand the rules, the inspection rules, and everything. So that's the major events that's going to take place. Other than that, we think we have the problem I told you about last time, or the bed bugs. We think that's handled. We're keeping our fingers crossed. We've had it tested twice since then, and there's no reoccurrence. The website seems to be working pretty well. I'm getting questions from people and trying to answer them back as soon as possible. We put more vouchers on the street. We have almost 259, almost 260 out there now on the program. Yeah, and 260 HAP contracts on the program, and we have 16 vouchers on the street. So it's a lot of them out there. And that helps because, you know, that penalty is still lingering over us, and we're trying to, the vending machine will be here hopefully Monday or Tuesday of next week. They had to wait on one part, so that's being done. So if there are any questions, I'll be glad to go through it. I have individual reports, Tennessee, maintenance, vacancy, and HCVP following it.
Any questions or discussion from any board members this evening? All right. Seeing none, where we at? On to the resolutions?
Yes, sir. And unless,
All right, there were two resolutions on the agenda this evening. Resolution number 17-06-27-47 regarding the administrative plan. We're postponing that this evening. We're waiting on some more information.
Well,
Mr. Bell?
I didn't want you to vote on it without the actual plan in your hand. It's 114 pages.
Okay.
We made some changes, so I knew that you couldn't read it in 2 days. So hopefully, even though it's been on the website for a while and we posted and we allow people to see it, we got a few comments. We've incorporated those comments.
Any changes from that draft that's on the website?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, quite a few.
all right.
That's the whole reason. I don't want to have you vote for it, thinking that that's what you voted.
Okay, so
Okay.
the chair doesn't see any reason to vote for something that we don't have the information from, so with no objection from the board, we'll postpone that. And then the next resolution is resolution number 17-06-27-48, resolution approving a change in monthly board reporting format incorporating the HUD required PHAS indicators as a progress tool. Mr. Bell?
Yes, we're measured by something called FAST, and I put it in here, put the acronym represents Public Housing Assessment System. And basically, it's comprised of physical, financial, management, and capital fund indicators with other things in it, such as late penalties and those kind of things. If you turn in something late or don't do something, you'll get a penalty for that. Obviously, all housing authorities attempt to become standard. They have what they call standard performers, high performers. We've been a substandard performer not in public housing. It's been a few numbers away from it, but it's because of stock. And so we've been trying very hard to make changes in things such as windows and physical things that will not have points deducted. We're not dealing with new stock, so we're going to always be under fire for it. But our financials have always been in good shape, and our management has been in good shape. What this will allow us to do is to give you a report monthly and especially quarterly, so at the end of the year, you're not surprised and you'll know pretty much what it is. So this is something that HUD has asked that we consider, all the housing authorities, and I agreed to put it in a form and bring it to the board. But they still are trying to meet with all the board members anyway, and this is one of the things they're going to talk about whenever they do meet.
All right, any discussion or comments on that?
So this is a HUD-written process that we're just adopting or accepting?
No, what you're doing here is you're telling me as executive director to report to you on it every if not every meeting, at least every quarter, because I'll have that information. Right now, we report once a year when we get back the HUD findings. First, you confirm it for yourself, and then HUD comes out and confirms what you said you had, and then they issue the final thing. And if you recall a couple of years, well, last year, we were like, I think it was 20 points from being standard. So we're trying to remove that obstacle, and HUD believes that it'll help if you know the things that we should be working on more than other things. So this will help you.
All right, Mr. Bell, on this, I'm going to read the language of this resolution in just a moment, but
Yes.
the understanding that I'm gathering, and maybe this will draw some clarity, you can tell me if I'm wrong, that this is simply, HUD has established what the acceptable procedure is.
What the measurement indicators that they're
Okay.
going to measure us by.
And now the St. Charles Housing Authority is adopting a acceptable procedure
No.
for reporting how we're measuring up to
Only-
that?
It's the only thing you're adopting is having me report it to the board
Okay.
on a routine basis.
All right. So what are we measuring against?
Okay, you measure against the HUD standard.
Okay.
So they have a standard for a number of units.
All right.
If you have, like in our case, we have 129 units. There's certain things that you must do in all of these areas, in physical, financial, management, and capital fund. Now, all of it's based on what we call our 5-year plan, and it's what you say you're going to do in the plan, such as capital funds. If you expended all the money the way you said you were going to do it, you're given a good grade and close the program. If you didn't, then you get penalties, that kind of thing. In Section 8, this does not judge Section 8. Section 8 is a different system. It's CMAP. This is only public housing.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
And this resolution essentially is telling you to report back to the board the information
Routine.
that we need to see where we're at.
Right.
All right. Any further discussion or questions? All right, resolution number 17-06-27-48, resolution approving a change in monthly board reporting format, incorporating the HUD required FAST indicators as a progress tool, whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority must have an acceptable procedure for measuring effectiveness and evaluating progress of the agency yearly, and whereas the Public Housing Assessment System, FAST, comprised of physical, financial management, and capital fund indicators, is an acceptable measure used by HUD annually, and whereas St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, it is reasonable to mark St. Charles Parish Housing Authority's quarterly progress to achieve its goal of being a high performer using FAST standards. Now therefore, the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Board of Commissioners at the June 27, 2017 scheduled board meeting, St. Charles Parish Courthouse, Hanville, approves change in the monthly board reporting format to incorporate HUD required FAST indicators as a progress tool. Having read that into the record, do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
I make a motion
A motion made.
I make a motion to pass resolution number 17-06-27-48.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Champagne. A second?
A second.
Second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries.
This is going to start on, as per the resolution, July 25th.
July 20.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have a resolution that's on the table. Do we have any board discussion, or are we leaving that on the table? Any comments from the board? All right,
Leave it to.
all right, seeing none, we'll leave it tabled.
Yes, that's what I was going to just make, if we need a
right.
motion for that or not.
At this time, we can go into executive session if the board desires to do so. All right, seeing no comments from the board, we will not go into executive session. Now, public comments. Seeing no one here, we'll dispense with public comments. And do we have a motion now to adjourn the meeting?
Mr. Chair, I make a move that we adjourn the meeting.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned at 6:20. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
That was a record.